You can build a great physique and a beautiful body that's functioning well and is affordable.
My wife tells our children, you got one mind and one body. You got to take care of it. And that's the truth.
If you chew better, you'll actually digest food better and absorb more nutrients. You can actually slow down aging. People who don't chew well, if all three of us had the same diet, but if I had 4 teeth, okay, and you guys had the full 28, all of a sudden the same diet, you would break down the food better, you'd absorb more nutrients, and you would look better. And the doctor would say, I can't believe it, your diet is amazing.
You seem to have such a love and a passion for what you're doing. Just obviously when you're talking about it, we can hear it. It's fantastic. How are you doing this and juggling, also running a business? Because you got the dental business, you got the speaking, you got so much going on. We have an amazing guest with us. Really, really excited. Very rarely do you meet someone that has a combination of psychology, dentistry, holistic wellness, and fitness. This guy's kind of amazing. And so we're going to talk to him about everything to do with all the things he does, but he's really kind of dialed into this kind of, Ben, it's going to be a fun one.
I think we're on for it.
We are on for it. So Dr. Uche is with us tonight. How you doing, Dr. Uche? Great to see you.
I'm doing great. I'm excited to chat with new people. Love, mind melding. So this is going to be good. I've seen The Good Doctor online. So
yeah, I think that's how we met, in the metaverse, as they say. So I like the Gucci Dr. Uche, man. That should be your freaking tag name for the record. That should be your, yours is good. What is your tag is fit speaker or the fit speaker?
Yeah, fit speakers. I'm a dentist, I'm a trainer, I'm an author. Mm-hmm. So almost think of that Renaissance man style thing. And it's kind of more of a self-imposed, but I just love total patient health. And that's where it all started from.
Yeah. And you can tell we just talked to somebody prior, Brian Coons, and he's big into the breath work, breathing, mindfulness. And it's always, yours is tied to oral health, mental health, overall health, fitness, but there's that mental health component to it. I can see is in your work. I was listening to some of your stuff yesterday and today.
Yeah, we're gonna have a fun time tonight. Can we start just, how did we get on this journey from psychology to dentistry to personal training to wellness and performance? How did that all happen?
Yeah, I'd say age 6. My mom was giving us cod liver oil every morning. I was born in England, so I'm gonna give us, all 4 kids would get cod liver oil, and it was a big silver spoon. Mm-hmm. And I always said she had some dents in it because it was the same silver spoon she used to beat us with. Okay, so I have some mixed associations when it comes to nutrition. But I'd say my interest in nutrition started early. I say age 6, and I was intrigued how she would say what you ate would affect your day. And it wasn't just eat it unless I'm going to beat you. It was eat it for your mind. If you want to grow taller, eat this. And it made the link. I think many parents just talk to kids about, do it or else. And the why is powerful. And age 6, I started lifting weights at age 14. And that never stopped. It's been part of my life for more than 4 decades, which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
And I got a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. And I kind of wove on that whole workouts the whole time. And when I got into dental school, people couldn't believe this incredible Hulk-looking guy was also smart, because that whole thing about being a dumb jock, it's still prevalent. But all the science now says exercise, you have more of this neurotransmitter called BDNF, which basically is like Miracle-Gro in the brain. So people who are more active, they have better communication between all 85 billion neurons. They have more juicy, ripe synaptic connections. So, and that was dental school 30 years ago, which is wild when I tell audiences 30 years ago. They're like, so when did you graduate? Age 14? So, so that's how it all started. I've kept up this exercise thing since age 14, nutrition since 6. And so my claim to fame is I make it easy and simple. I think a lot of gurus make it complicated. It doesn't sound attractive when you say I work out 2 hours a day, I do 150-mile runs. I've never run a marathon. I've never done a half marathon. I've done 1 5K in my life, and my resting pulse is 55. And I do that by certain exercises and certain mindsets and breathing techniques.
Nice. You know, my wife tells our children, you got one mind and one body. You got to take care of it. And like, that's the truth. Because when we're like forcing them to eat their broccoli and carrots and, you know, we don't use the spoon like your mother, you know, at least I'm not going to disclose that here, but, yeah, it's interesting. And if you start at a young age, that's why it's still with you, because your mother instilled that, you know, before you knew it was an option.
It was so good. And I think part of that is just who I am. And I think keeping it simple has made it. I have patients that are, you know, 90, 95, 100, and they don't do anything complicated. You know, they don't do infrared sauna. They don't have, you know, upper body and a lower body trainer. They just do simple things every day. So I'm thinking, no one over 90 who's healthy, alert, and alive and has teeth makes their routine complicated. So why am I making it complicated at 30, 40, 50? Because I think a lot of what keeps 80% of North Americans not exercising is that it's complicated, it's paradoxical. We're told that zone 2 is more important than weights. Weights is more important than zone 2.
It switches 3 years later. Exactly.
Oh my God. So, and then the confused mind says, I'm going to go back to the drive-through. So I like simple, easy, doable.
You know, what percentage of your life right now is dental versus this kind of motivation, this speaking? I'm curious.
I think it never leaves me, actually, because I've got some cool quotes on my walls. I'm listening to podcasts on the way to work. But actually, I see patients, though, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I work from noon till 8. A lot of dentists like to start 7 o'clock in the morning. The only time I'll get up at 7 is to catch a flight. Okay?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, so noon till 8 is my sweet spot. I'm a night owl. So when patients see me at 7 o'clock, they're, doctor, I just want to thank you for dedicating your life to dentistry. And I'm like, I don't have the heart to tell them. I've only been going 7 hours, 6 hours. So it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday dentistry. Thursday's often a travel day. I speak about 30 days, 30 trips a year, different parts of North America. Friday is a speaking day. I come back Friday night. I got the kids Saturday, Sunday. So it really is a 7-day schedule. But again, it might look hard on the outside, but I think certain things I do make it easy for me. I order certain things on the plane. I do certain things the day of traveling. I stay hydrated, and it's all doable, simple things.
So I want to get into all those things, but Ben and I talk a lot about on this show. We're both pretty busy. It's a lot, and we're juggling families and kids and all that stuff. How are you finding that as a dad?
Yeah, great question. I think, again, people who don't exercise do it because it looks complicated. So only 20% of North Americans have any regular physical fitness. So what I've done is I don't have any workouts that last more than 40 minutes unless I'm doing a yoga class, which is about once a week. So people do yoga every day. That might be Sting, that might be Deepak Chopra, but it's not fit people, you know. So I'd say yoga class once a week to remind your body and to integrate the muscles. Strength training about 3 to 4 times a week. My workouts sometimes are as short as 20 minutes. If you do supersets, and I can do a legs, back, and biceps workout and do 20 sets in about 25 minutes. I have a gym in my house. It's on the main floor. People always make the mistake of putting the gym in the basement or on the attic. You got to put it right when you come in. It's got to be. It's got to annoy your spouse. It's got to annoy guests. You know,
that's a good cheat code. Yeah, I like that.
Oh, a gym on the main floor is just a no-brainer. And many times people think they have to do an hour workout. I will actually say, okay, I don't feel like it. There's a MLB, Major League Baseball game on. I was going to go downstairs. I'll do 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, I'm doing 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, I'm doing 25 minutes, and I'm running upstairs. And so that's how I do it. It's slow and steady. You know that fable about the tortoise and the hare? I am the tortoise. And like Warren Buffett with financial, by keeping it simple and doable, I will beat the guy that's doing the all over interval training and, turbo HIT while he's on his 4x4 driving down the highway,
It's interesting. Yeah, I think some of the key is really to simplify it. Like you said, easy, I would argue it's not easy. It's never going to be easy for people. But when I have patients struggling with weight and they don't like their jawline because they're heavy or something, I tell them, I'm like, listen, the intermittent fasting stuff, it's simple. It's not easy. It's hard to not eat for 20 hours, but it's very simple. You just can't eat for 20 hours. So if you simplify these kind of things for people, that's what allows people to get it done. Dom, we should touch on it. Dr. Uche, he also is Canadian. Are you Canadian born or U.S. based?
No, London born.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Born in
London.
London. Grew up in Toronto. My mom is Irish. My dad's Nigerian. I say I'm an African leprechaun.
Yeah.
Okay, so too tall to be a leprechaun, too short the MBA. Okay,
Yeah.
so I am a child of the universe. I am a global
there you
entity. You know, so
And you're living in Toronto, right?
I'm living in Toronto, so it's great. You know, Blue Jays were kicking it earlier, so it's like it's just a great city to be from.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm in Port Credit, so I'm like 20 minutes from
Oh,
yeah.
okay, wow, okay.
So very cool. So I wanted to get into this. So we kind of talk about, and sorry if I'm stating this wrong way, you can correct me, but kind of this like mouth body connection. I think people have heard bits and pieces of it, but don't really get it and don't understand it and don't have anything they can take away.
Okay.
So can you help us with that?
Yeah, there's many parts of that. And the reason why I probably speak 90% of the time at dental conferences. There's about 200,000 dentists in North America. Most dentists focus on the filling, the decay, the cavity, the missing tooth, which is great, but then you're basically a tooth mechanic. And I say you'd be surprised how hour-long appointments give you the ability to have an insight in someone's world. And if someone falls asleep during a root canal, it happens. If a man falls asleep at 2 o'clock in the afternoon while getting their teeth cleaned, there's some sleep issues there. Yeah. So I educate dentists of the science how poor sleep, poor nutrition, stress, and sedentary living shows up in the body. So sedentary people have elevated inflammation. Their gums will bleed more than someone who does exercise. If someone, shift worker, which is 30% of adults, their tissues, their gums will bleed more in spite of everything they do than someone who sleeps at nighttime. Someone who's obese will have more inflammation. Take out the confounding variables of smoking and everything else just by being obese, which is 40% of adults. So I teach dentists to look more into total patient health. But dentists are always looking for the bacteria that leads to Alzheimer's, bacteria in the mouth that leads to heart disease. Well, a lot of cardiologists are now, before they do put a stent in or before they do a valve replacement, they'll say, I want you to go to the dentist because I want to make sure your mouth is healthy before I do the work. Because what happens is if you have loose teeth, if your breath is bad from periodontal disease, what happens is that bacteria is being seeded in the gum tissue because the gums are pink, not because they're pink, it's because they're see-through and they're seeing the blood vessels. So if someone has bacteria, gums are bleeding, that bacteria has open season to lodge anywhere it wants to. Just like, E. coli is meant to be in the stomach, it's not meant to be in the eye. Staph is supposed to be on the outside of your skin, not on the inside. So, and this is pretty wild, actually. This is one of the reasons why I get asked to speak a lot, because people just think, oh my God, my dad's having a heart procedure a month from now. He hasn't got his teeth cleaned in 5 years. So there's lots of new protocols happening, and that whole idea of lifestyle impacts the mouth, but also it's bidirectional. The mouth impacts the rest of your body. So I know I've said a lot of loaded stuff there, but
there's so many things I want to cover there. So my wife, she like tells me, but by the way, I'm like an obsessive, like on oral hygiene. Okay. Cleanings, flossing every night, teeth brush. My teeth are great. Okay. They're great. Dr. Uche, I'm going to come and see you. I'm going to verify. Okay. But then my wife will go like, honey, your breath is bad. And I'm like, well, I know it doesn't seem like it's in here because my dentist is telling me like your teeth are fantastic. Like you take such good care of your teeth. Where else is bad breath coming from?
Yeah, it can either come from the stomach, the lungs, or the sinus. So your mouth could be spotless. So you have 3 other different areas. So the sinus, the lungs, and the stomach. But also most people don't brush their tongue. Some people have a very bald tongue. Some people have lots of papilla on their tongue. So if someone has a hairy tongue, like lots of papilla, it'll trap food particles and odor. So brushing your tongue is one way. But if it's still not good, then I'm starting to look at sinus, and I'm looking at stomach issues like reflux, very common. And I'm looking at stale air in the lungs. Many people, when we breathe shallow from anxiety. Even just being online, they say kids breathe deeper when they're reading than when they're watching videos. So if someone's online, people spend 3, 4, 5 days online. Well, 30 years ago, we didn't. Breathing shallow means that diaphragm's not pumping up and down, and there's stale air that's stagnant. So that stale, stagnant air comes up in our breath if we're not doing deep diaphragmatic breathing or just inhaling through our nose, exhaling through our mouth. So there's a number of different lifestyle things you could do for bad breath, but brushing the tongue, looking at how much time you spend online, because we We slow down and we're consuming, digesting information, and we breathe shallow, you know.
I've never heard, by the way, that is incredible because I've never heard that from anybody ever before. Never heard about this breathing shallow piece. So that's fascinating. Really fascinating. Have you heard that, Ben? I've not.
No, I mean, and it goes hand in hand with our prior guest.
I want to go back to though what you were really talking about on this really kind of mouth body connection. Is the like what's the order of operations for like the average person to say like, okay, first things first, like everybody should try to just at least get X done when it comes to their mouth, and this is going to affect parts of their body. Like, do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's a few common threads. People often go to the dentist more for aesthetics than function. But in Caveman, the book Sapiens by Harari, he said all three of us have more physiology like a caveman than a modern man. We might have Prada belts on, but our physiology hasn't changed much in 500,000 years. So teeth were used 500,000 years ago by Homo sapiens for defending yourself and eating. Smiling was not a big part of that. It was defending yourself and eating. So people come to us for visual, and I tell them, and people often don't realize, if you chew better, you'll actually digest food better and absorb more nutrients. You can actually slow down aging. People who don't chew well, if all three of us had the same diet, but if I had 4 teeth, okay, and you guys had the full 28, all of a sudden the same diet, you would break down the food better, you'd absorb more nutrients, and you would look better. And the doctor would say, I can't believe it. Your diet is amazing. I have 4 teeth, or I have dry mouth. So people often don't see teeth quality and moist saliva as enhancing their vitality and slowing down aging. Because a big part of getting older and looking more beaten up is the fact that you're not repairing as well. Because my son, who's 10, has just as much breakdown as an 80-year-old, but the 80-year-old is not repairing as well. My son, a cut on his arm will look good in 30 days. And then an 80-year-old, it's still squeezing pus 30 days later.
What if your chewing is just annoying? Like, Dom, what does that mean?
There we go. that might be a hint. Other things are going on.
Let's not miss the point though. What you just said, which I think is incredible, which is you take same people, and one person is chewing more mindful and complete. There's a lot more nutrient absorption. They're getting a lot out of it. Like, I mean, people don't talk about this.
No, never. It's such a basic foundational thing. And I often think fitness and health is foundational. So when people say, Dr. Datsky, you've been a dentist now for 35 years. How the heck is that possible? And I'll say, I eat mindfully and I chew mindfully. Tell me what that looks like. I said, well, I've had 4 wisdom teeth out, so I have 28 teeth, but they're solid. I take care of them morning and night. I do certain things. I get my teeth cleaned actually 3 or 4 times a year. The new recommendation is 3 or 4, if you can afford it, 3 or 4 times a year, because in 3 months, that calculus or tartar starts building up again. So if people do 6-month cleanings, after 3 months, they already have debris or barnacles on a ship's hull inside the roots of their teeth, which happens then lowers the bone and teeth get loose and they start bleeding. So it's every 3 months. But I tell them the more healthy your teeth are, the number of teeth you have, the better you'll chew. And if you chew better, you'll digest food better, absorb more nutrients, and you'll repair quicker. And for the same food, you'll actually get more nutrition out. So a lot of times 80-year-olds have a great diet, but they're low in B12, they're low in iron. They're eating the food, their microbiome is not healthy enough to extract it. It's like if I got paid in Russian rubles, it's money, but I can't use it. So a lot of people 70, 80, 90 are looking bleak because they just don't have the 28 teeth. They don't have good saliva. They have loose teeth. They're missing whole segments. Just like if the 3 of us, Mavi, if you actually had, if you were missing one whole arch and you chewed on one side and we all chewed the same amount of times, the person missing teeth is going to swallow his food in chunks and more solids. So they're not going to get the same nutrient out. And also the stomach's gonna have to make more acid. You think of all the people on PPIs and with GERD, acid reflux, simply because they're chewing too quickly. The better you chew and the more efficient you chew, if it goes down like liquid, just like our grandmothers and great-grandmothers said, all of a sudden I'm getting more nutrient absorption, which means I look better, I heal better, my joints are gonna be better. So it's wild how something so simple as chewing your food till it's liquid has profound benefits other than my grandmother told me.
We should talk about that because it's in the news so much. The bacteria, the oral bacteria, and Alzheimer's, or other mental issues? Because that's probably making you a really busy man these days, I would say. I mean, that's really been in the news lately.
You'd be surprised. It's in the news, but again, people know what's good for them. Like everyone knows you should work out, but only 20% of people do. So it's kind of like a buzzword. The bacteria is called P. gingivalis, capital P. gingivalis. And they've shown that they've seen it more in people with dementia and Alzheimer's. And they don't see it on autopsy in people who don't have Alzheimer's. So, P. gingivalis only takes place in the mouth of someone who's got more pathogenic flora. So there's definite links between P. gingivalis. And P. gingivalis is not just with dementia. They've actually shown it shows up more often in people with bacterial plaque in their arteries. And also people have more inflammation in their arteries. So there's something about bacterial plaque that needs to stay in the mouth, but it won't stay in the mouth if gums are bleeding. And that's where we recommend getting their teeth cleaned every 3-4 months. People think that's expensive. Well, death is expensive. Okay. A stroke is expensive. Dementia, dementia is expensive. 10 years, it's a 10-year goodbye when people have Alzheimer's. So that whole thing about P. gingivalis, and basically an average person can't pronounce P. gingivalis, but if they know that bacterial in the mouth needs to stay there. Just like people get pink eye because it's E. coli, right? People not washing their hands when they go to the bathroom. So that bacteria is okay in your rectum, not okay in your eye. So that whole idea of P. gingivalis is bacteria in the mouth needs to stay in the mouth. And that's why that whole saying, a human bite is so deadly. Bacteria in the mouth is deadly, and there's about up to 2,000 species in the mouth. And most of them are beneficial. Only a few of them are pathogenic. But if someone has a dry mouth, junk food diet, poor stress, poorly managed stress, poor sleep, they're going to have higher levels of pathogenic flora.
Does sleep affect your teeth or vice versa?
Yeah, great question. So you might have read some of Matthew Walker's work. He's a PhD in neuroscientist. He wrote a book called Why We Sleep. And he said our immune system goes into high gear at nighttime. During the daytime, it's just, on neutral, on standby. Nighttime, it goes into high gear. So they've actually shown that good sleepers have strong immune systems, just like they've shown that a night of disrupted sleep, this is a University of California study. So a night of disrupted sleep, or sleeping less than 5 hours, 6 hours, you'll have about 60 to 70% less natural killer activity. Natural killer activity is, it's the body's white blood cells. It's Navy SEALs that take away and make you a stronger immune system. So people who sleep poorly are going to have more bacteria. They'll have inability to get rid of the bacteria, less lysozymes. So anytime someone's not sleeping well, it'll show up as a weaker immune system. Just like students around exam time will often have canker sores and cold sores, while during the summer when they're rested, they don't. So we see it in the mouth. I'll get a 21-year-old sometimes in the chair, and they'll have a canker sore, those little ulcers in the mouth. And I'll say, hey, how many exams you got? They go, Doc, what do you mean? How'd you know? I said, well, you only get them. You 21-year-olds only get them around exam time when you burn the candle at both ends. So poor sleep shows up in the mouth. And then they start looking at you as more of an oral physician than just a tooth mechanic. That's why on a plane sometimes when the flight attendant comes down and says, we need a doctor in the front of the plane, there's been a medical emergency, and a dentist will put up their hand. And they'll go, you're not a doctor, what are you going to do with the guy? Bleach his teeth. So, but we know lots about nutrition. There's a mouth-body connection. So I think I educate dentists to look at themselves more like an oral physician and stop looking at yourself as a person who just fills in gaps and brightens teeth.
Yeah, smart. I like it. That's really good insight.
There's so much to cover there. Sorry. So when we go back to, I want to go back to that one question is, what can people do right away? It sounds like the first thing they need to do, they need to get their teeth cleaned a lot more than they are today.
Yes. 6 months is for the 19-year-old with no fillings. If someone's 50 with 3 implants, 4 crowns, missing teeth, maybe a breath problem, man, I'd say every 3-4 months. And you might think it costs money. Cleaning in Canada, US, it might be about $250. So if it's $250 3 or 4 times a year, that's $1,000. An implant costs $8,000. A root canal is $2,000. And if you're going to the dentist more often, you'll identify something quicker. If I identify a little sticky pit and we put a filling in, it's $200. You wait for that, or I can't afford it, or I'm too busy. All of a sudden now it's a root canal, which is $2,000, a crown at another $2,000. So going more often will save you money in the long run. And plus, white teeth is a sign of youth and sexiness. I think a doctor is doing all kinds of surgeries and he's got the chin things. Yeah. That's incredible. But unconsciously, white teeth, youth, visible teeth when you smile is youth. As we get older, this this lip loses tone. And as people talk, if you don't show a lot of your top teeth and show a lot of your lower teeth because the muscle, you lose tone down here, automatically, oh man, oh lady. But if you have nice long teeth, or you wear a bite guard so you don't grind them down, you automatically, subconsciously, people think of youth and vitality. Pointed teeth, the eye teeth, the canines, are a sign of charisma and personality. And if someone looks like an older man, have your teeth all the same size. It screams, Michael Douglas. No, I shouldn't say Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
He might be watching, but you think of the stars of Hollywood from Long Blonde. They all wanted the teeth the same length. Jessica Simpson, Angela Jolie. Look at the pointed eye teeth. That's charisma. That's youth and vitality. So the new dentists now are making these teeth at different levels. Yeah. And that screams, I'm young. I got time left.
Ben, everything you said, I'm doing, man.
I am notoriously bad. It's just one of those things. Like, I'm like, the doctors are probably the worst. I brush my teeth and I floss,
cleaning,
but
I got mouth guard. I doing it all. I
got to go to the dentist every 3 months. I got to go to the dentist every 3 months. I got to breath work. I got to do MDMA and ketamine. There's so much I got to do for myself. I used to just go to the gym.
Hey, pre-book the cleaning. Never, it's funny. Just, you get the cleaning done. Because usually about every office has 2 or 3 hygienists. And if you don't have a nice hygienist or it's not a good conversation, people resent going, go to someone that brings out the best in you. Honestly, has good, authentic chairside communication. And when you're finished that cleaning, you book the exact time you want. 7 o'clock, and some offices open up 8, 9 o'clock at night if you want first thing in the morning. And then you book your next one. And that's like a really passive way to get healthy. You're getting your teeth cleaned every 3 months. You're debriding, you're taking away the tartar, the calculus. The tissue can adapt tightly. The gum tissue stays nice and pointed. Like people, as they get older, the pink no longer is pointed between the teeth. It flattens out. Those little black triangles, again, screams aging. So if you want taut tissue, like toned gum, like toned muscles, get your teeth cleaned more often. Tones the tissue, just like exercise tones the gum. So you got this beautiful face. You want nice tissue. You want good posture. You want good breath. You want everything to be harmonious. Sometimes the teeth look great and the body looks like it sucks. You see some athletes in the gym, huge barn door shoulders, bicep vein, they smile and they got pink, bleeding, puffy, pussy gums. So they should all be in harmony. They should all be in harmony.
That's because they're HGHing and there's just stuff going on there that's not good. I don't know about you, but I'm tired all the time. And the only cure for that, either some medical grade drugs or just going to the hyperbaric chamber.
It's like taking a deep breath on steroids. It's like, but they jam it in every cell. Not only that, there's an anti-inflammatory component. If you were to have any injury or surgery or anything like that, boom, science. It's that simple. It's going to make it better, faster.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that it does all these different things. Chronic pain, chronic fatigue, these kind of things. MD Hyperbaric has the right type of chambers. Don't settle for anything less than something that's more of a medical grade chamber. They are in so many different locations. Make sure that you go to mdhyperbaric.com to check them out. You could even tell them that Ben and Dom sent you from More You.
mdhyperbaric.com.
You seem to have such a love and a passion for what you're doing. Just obviously when you're talking about it, we can hear it. It's fantastic. How are you doing this and juggling also running a business?
Because, good question.
Because you got the dental business, you got the speaking, you got so much going on.
Mm-hmm. I used to be goal oriented, and now I realize purpose is better. Goals. I always, when you think of Michael Phelps came back for the Olympics, he set some record, 23 medals. He was smoking marijuana to get high 2 days later. The astronauts, when they came back from the moon, alcoholic, depressed, because they reached the goal and nothing else after. So I realized something about a goal that you celebrate once. I find this conversation now with you two is, I'm incredible. I'm on purpose now. I'm doing exactly what I was meant to do. Exactly what I was meant to be. When I have my son on Saturday, on the weekend, little 10-year-old guy, I'm totally focused on him. And I find being fully present lends itself to not feeling, I got to call patients back, I should be working out, So there's an element of being on purpose. So wherever I am, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. It's exactly, I was getting my passport renewed today. That's exactly where I was supposed to be. She said, don't smile. I can't help it. She goes, close. I don't want to see teeth, she said, from my passport picture.
What the hell's up with that? Yeah.
I know. Because you're supposed to look like a terrorist in the passport. You're never supposed to go So they want you to look grim and bleak, not too happy, right? So
I love that. But I think that's really right. purpose outweighs everything else. I mean, purpose, you're right. It outweighs it. And by the way, I never thought about goal versus purpose, by the way. I thought that was fantastic what you just said and great examples.
It's good insight.
Working out, I'll sometimes double team stuff. I believe in red light. I bought a nice red light panel from a company up in Canada 2 years ago. So I have a 2-foot red light. So it's red light and near infrared. So there's good science behind photo biomodulation. And I have that on. I work out just in shorts. So I'm getting red light 3 or 4 times a week for half an hour when I'm working out. So I'm getting red light. I'll often put a book. I love audiobooks. So I'm listening to an audiobook, getting my red light, and I'm training. And because I'm doing supersets, I'm getting zone 2. So I'm actually getting 4 things and I'm enjoying it. I'm not helter skelter. People ask me, well, how far do you stand from the red light? You're overthinking it. The red light's on. The red light's on. Do you wear goggles? Well, no, I want some red light in my eyes. Suppose it does help. So I don't overthink a lot of things. I think a lot of smart people overthink things. They overanalyze and they get lost in the weeds of arguing over which supplement to take. I'm like, whole food, Homo sapien. We've been eating whole food with no ingredient list on the side for 500,000 years. I love breakfast of mine, four boiled eggs, an avocado. Lunch, couple of chicken breasts, broccoli, some rice. Uche, do you worry about carbs? I love carbs, but if someone's only walking 1,800 steps a day, like if you're a receptionist sitting, 8 hours a day, you got to worry about carbs. But if you're, going from patient to patient, you're running to catch a plane, you're in the airport, carbs are your friend, and that whole nutrition thing. And a lot of bodybuilders and athletes talk about protein and fat. Fiber, man, fiber is where if you want to have smooth skin and have unlimited energy, and if you want to have because fiber, and again, I'm going to backtrack a bit. Fiber is something else. We had about 100 grams a day back in the caveman day. So 500,000 years ago, we ate 100 grams of fiber every day. 100 grams. Shoots, plants, weeds, greens, 100 grams a day. If you're lucky enough to catch an animal, you ate meat. But fiber is 100 grams a day. Average adult now is 12 grams a day. Average adult's 12. Science now says we need about 30 grams a day to make enough thing called short chain fatty acids. And all 3 of us have 40 trillion bacteria in our bodies. 99% of them are in large intestine. They have one keystone thing they want. They want fiber. If you don't have enough fiber, it cuts off everything else at its knees. And fiber's cheap. There's no lobby group outside the White House saying, we want more broccoli. We want more broccoli. No one cares about fiber because there's no money in fiber. There's no money. There's no advertising for apples and asparagus. But if you get to 30 grams a day, which is a sweet spot, which only 5% of people do. Only 5% of patients, 5% of my patients, 5% of your patients, doc. What happens is they can't make short chain fatty acids. And the crazy thing about, short chain fatty acids, and all 3 of us make them, is they're the most anti-inflammatory agent your body makes. They're like ibuprofen. It's like, so it can douse the flames of every issue. Like every disease has an inflammatory component. Cancer, diabetes, cognitive decline is basically a brain on fire. So if your body's pumping out short chain fatty acids from eating 30 grams a day, you've cut the legs off a disease right underneath. It has no causative stoking the fire of the inflammation because all these diseases ends in itis. So fiber is the nutrient that I care about most. And I just guess, an avocado, 10 grams, a cup of coffee, 2 grams of soluble fiber, an apple, 4 grams. You can get to 30 grams pretty quickly. But when people say, Uche, how's your stomach flat over 55? Why is your skin smooth? How come you got energy? So I just say fiber, and it's not sexy to talk about. Bodybuilders bros talk about fat and seed oils. Man, I talk about what my grandmother said. Eat your vegetables. Eat your vegetables.
At least in America, I think Canada is a little wiser on this front. It's the education of people and the diet, particularly like the 80s babies. I think when the moms were going back to work and the TV dinner kind of came out, I find that the education that people do not appreciate what contains that amount of fiber or protein or fat or carbohydrates. It's a big weakness again in America at least.
See, there's no lobby group though. Hey, like it's because it's not a big profit center. There's no subsidy for vegetables. Corn, soy, wheat, and meat has all the subsidy. Corn and soy has huge subsidies. There's no subsidy for apples and asparagus and broccoli and sweet potatoes. But if you get to 30 grams, I tell people, if you get to 30 grams a day, you add an avocado. If someone's not doing an avocado a day, which is 10 grams, so if the average adult is doing 12 grams, you do an avocado at 10, and now you're at 22. A couple cups of coffee, an apple, you're at 30. Life changes. Regular digestion, stomach flattening, and bacteria. This is where it gets just kind of wild though, because bacteria have been on. I'll tell audiences. So bacteria have been on the planet for 4 billion years. 4 billion years. We now have 40 trillion inside us. We need them more than they need us. They were here before the dinosaur. They're here long after the dinosaur.
Yeah, they're going to be here.
All they want from us. All they want from us is fiber. They want nothing else. They want fiber. They want 30 grams a day, and most of us are starving them at 12. But if you give them what they want, guess what? I've never had someone eat 2 avocados. People eat 1 because it's 10 grams. Try and eat 2, Ben, and you'll go like, I couldn't. You know why? Because your bacteria go, hey, we're fine. GLP-1s, do you need GLP-1s, or do you just need to eat an avocado in the morning with a couple of eggs? Because bacteria are responsible for this. And again, I'm getting into the weeds here again.
No, this is what it's about. Yeah, the weeds. We like the weeds.
Okay, like the weeds. So bacteria, our bacteria are responsible for 40% of the circulating metabolites. If you think of all the hundreds of thousands of metabolites in our body, bacteria either make them or mature them or manufacture them, and it all takes place in the large intestine. So you have happy bacteria, and all they want is 30 grams. And it seems like it's almost too easy, but it's almost, again, to have a good relationship, give your wife appreciation, give your, some attention, some affection. Which is it harder than that? No. Recognize them, acknowledge them, touch them. And is there anything else? How about the Gottman Institute? How about the 6-second kiss? Kissing someone for 6 seconds who hates you is not going to make them fall in love with you again. I think a 6-second kiss is a fallout of the love. It's not going to create the love,
But I like what you said. I want to just ask some questions because I think people out there are wondering. They're out there, they're saying, I want to eat fiber, everything like that. Is there a big difference between getting your fiber and then getting it through fiber supplementation, like psyllium husks? And I mean, some people, you hear old people always talking about, like, I'm taking Metamucil, I'm getting all my fiber. And it's like, yeah, is that the right way to do it?
Yeah, I tried that orange carton and it came out the same way it went in. And then my Homo sapien body, I've been on the planet for 500,000 years. My physiology, the human genome hasn't changed. It takes 100,000 years to change 1/10 of 1%. It wants food. It wants an apple. It wants an avocado. It wants a sweet potato. It wants a salad. But when you're traveling, though, obviously Ben and Dom, you travel also. If you travel, I will bring a supplement. I'll get some fiber gummies, but I will not eat the gummies every day. But I'll bring some fiber gummies, four fiber gummies. Also, I'm at 7 grams now. But I'll go through an airport. I'm grabbing the banana at Starbucks. I'll have their oatmeal, soluble fiber. I'm going to have the salad. No matter what airport, I can have a salad. I can throw a chicken breast on. So people say they eat unhealthy on the road. You just don't have an awareness for how easy it is to eat healthy. So, but otherwise, whole food is best. And the more whole food you eat, the easier it is to shut off cravings because they've done some studies. If you eat a lot of junk food, which most people, I think 95% of food eaten outside the home is junk food. So what happens is you'll eat 500 calories more because your brain is saying, where's the nutrition? So that part of our brain that has the hunger area, it's called the apostatin, the hypothalamus. If you're eating junk food, the body goes, where's the nutrition? So that's why after a shake, fries, and a double whatever, you're thinking, I'm hungry. You eat an avocado, 2 eggs, you're good for 3 hours. So there's something about whole food nutrition that tells my caveman, my Freddie Flintstone body that I'm done and I can focus on my patient. I can focus on the love of my life. I can focus on enjoying the drive,
Ben, I'm Dr. Uche's like a poster child again. I had 2 eggs and avocado this morning.
Bragging. Actually, I did too. I'm
his guy.
It's interesting. I was doing the intermittent fasting to the extreme. I was doing like 22 hours a day, like every day. But I couldn't keep any muscle on. I was getting like really too slender. So I've added in the past year eggs in the morning. So I need to check my cholesterol here just to double check and make sure I'm not too bad. But
okay, so there's new talk about intermittent fasting. New talk. So the whole thing about intermittent fasting is it's great for the obese. It's great for someone who has to lose 50, 60, 80 pounds. But if you're lean already, or if you're over 40, we don't absorb protein the same. You can do maybe a day a month where you do 20 hours where, or a couple of days a month where you don't eat for the day and maybe have, cucumbers, slices and water. But technically over 40, or if you're lean already, to get your protein needs met, you can't eat, 150 grams of protein in 2 hours. So they're now saying intermittent fasting is for the morbidly obese or really extreme overweight person, because they lose weight, they lose muscle and fat. But the three of us, I need protein every 4 hours. And my intermittent fasting could be 12 hours off. So if I stop eating 8 o'clock at night and I don't eat till 8 or 12 in the morning, that 12, 16 hours, my body gets a break. So that intermittent fasting was overthought. And Peter Attia now from Outlive is saying intermittent fasting is like old school. It's like wearing your MC Hammer pants.
Yeah, exactly. I was a little bit late to the game, but it's been in the past year, and I like feel so much better now that I've added a little something at least in the morning.
But you're lean though. Like you keep your proteins up. You probably want to eat every 4 hours to get that muscle. Because
I'm busting. I'm running around like a goofball all day. It's hard to pack it in.
So you know what you do though? You bring like a quart of Greek yogurt to work. You have a bag of mixed nuts. Have apples keep for 7 days at a time. You have a big bag of mixed nuts. You have yogurt. It keeps for 2 weeks at a time. You get a bowl. You throw a cup of Greek yogurt in, or a good fat yogurt with some nuts and some sliced apples keep. Throw a scoop of protein powder. That food will keep in your staff room at work for weeks, and you'll be full. You'll go home not ravenous, because I think when you go home hungry, we eat from 6 p.m. to midnight. So keep stuff at work so you can actually get your cash. That's what I'm thinking for you.
Yeah, no, it's. I think I'm pretty good, honestly. Like from the food discipline, it's never been a problem for me. I can not eat for like 2 days and I'm okay. I mean, I enjoy eating, but I was getting scrawny. I was doing too much of the intermittent fasting, so it was interesting.
We got to pump you up, Ben.
Get me beefed up. Yeah, exactly.
Beefed up too. Dr. Uche and I, we rip it up. We're gonna get you big. Hey, Dr. Uche, why are dentists just not talking about nutrition? Why is that not even a conversation that I've had with my own dentist in 30 years, 40 years? Like not one time.
Okay, great question. And I think we overthink things. And basically, believe it or not, there's 12 specialties in dentistry. 12 specialties. Root canal, prosthodontics, gums, periodontics, public health, restorative. There's 12 specialties. So we overthink this whole area. So we tend to have a lot of CE. I got to do about 5 full days a year. We focus on this area so much. We think, unless I get a master's in nutrition, I'm not going to talk about it. But there's a really good book called How Not to Die by Michael Greger. And this medical doctor who wrote the book said he went to Tufts because Tufts is the medical school in the States that has the most requirements for graduating. You need 22 hours of nutrition to graduate. 22 hours, which sounds like a lot. Do you realize every dentist gets 25 hours? Every dentist has 25 hours of nutrition. Hygienists get 30 hours. So dentists and hygienists take more structured nutritional courses in our 4-year program than medical doctors. And I remind them that, so when you get reminded, you think, oh my God. And people don't want an exhaustive PowerPoint by the chair. All you got to say is, you know what? Teeth are much more for you than just smiling. If you chew better, you'll absorb more nutrients and you'll heal better and you'll slow down aging. And the person goes, you know what? Get me the implant. Like this, it doesn't take much to extrapolate. Like, so if someone's has a whole quadrant that they're missing teeth on and they're chewing on one side, I said, because I have teeth on both sides, if we both chew 20 times, my food's going to go down in liquid. So I'm going to absorb more nutrients and I will age slower because I can repair my body better. Patients don't want the stats or the reference. They go, doc, makes sense to me. Give me 2 implants. And that's how quick it is. And I know, Ben, you're very convincing. You're very convincing with your case presentations. But I think when you talk from authenticity and conviction, it just screams. It's like Jordan Belfort in Wolf of Wall Street. Like he is investing in sales. Like, so chairside, I every cell in me emotes energy and authenticity. Like I believe this stuff. I live it. I don't wear Spanx under my scrubs. I look and smell healthy.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is such a good point, Dom. My dentist has never ever said anything other than come back in 6 months. I mean, or maybe a little bit sooner, but yeah.
My hygienist is said, hey, are you, I don't drink coffee, but I'll have a decaf coffee like once in a while. And she's like, yeah, you're looking good. Just a little bit of staining. I could tell you had a little bit of coffee, this and that. She's talking about that, but we never talk about food.
which is crazy because it's called the EPIC study. It was of 500,000 people over 21 years, 11 countries. Because I've never met a person yet that knows the coffee is good for them. Everyone acts like, Dr. Natty, I've been a bad girl. I eat 3 cups a day. And I'm like, I'm not at the confessional. Coffee, like up to 4 cups a day, lowers chance of heart disease and lowers all-cause mortality. That was a 550,000, 21-year, 11-country study. So when we talk about coffee staining, I'd say it's a minor fallout because coffee is full of flavonoids and it's got 2 to 3 grams of fiber in every cup. So if you're drinking 2, 3 cups a day, that's 6 to 7 grams of fiber. So we kind of focus on.
It's in North Americans' number one source of antioxidant too. I think for most people, the people eating really clean, maybe not, but the majority of the people out there, yeah, I agree.
So yeah, coffee is decent, and most people don't know coffee is good for you. That's and a little bit of staining. And again, if you're going every 3 months, but also if you're using a power brush, like if someone's using that 5,000-year-old technology, the manual brush, that's like 5,000 years ago. But if you're using a power brush and you're using it for 2 minutes and you're letting it pulse as it goes along, there is no stain because it doesn't shut off. The good brushes stay on for 2 minutes. You turn it perpendicular to your mouth and you let it vibrate. There's no stain. So 2 minutes at night, 2 minutes in the morning. Flossing's a part of that. And then the power flosser is something called a power flosser. Water pick is the one style. I like Phillips. But the power flosser is like a Niagara Falls, but it comes out of a little spout and you hold it in your mouth and you wash it around. The mouth, it's incredible how clean you can get your mouth before bedtime. And the mouth, and people say twice a day for 2 minutes. The bedtime one is way more important than the morning one because the morning one, you don't have food in your mouth. That's more just for freshness. Brush your tongue, brush even shorter amount of time, maybe a minute. But the nighttime one, they have to be meticulous. That's the 2 minute one. That's the flossing. And I'd say use a power flosser. It's pretty easy, actually. Home care is pretty easy. So,
Flosser.
yeah.
I'm doing it. You got me convinced.
$90, you get a power flosser.
Yeah, I bought my daughter has braces right now, so I got her one. But yeah, I should steal it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I'm all into my oral hygiene game, and I've just leveled up. I'm just about to level up right now. That's amazing. Dr. Uche, what I wanted to just talk about, we've talked about all incredible things. Like you just seem like you're in a magnetic personality. You seem to have a brand. We love to talk about this stuff, just Ben and I. Like, what steps have you taken to kind of build your brand? Is there anything that you found that also has worked really good to kind of build your brand?
Good question. I think basically I'm kind of the living embodiment of what I do. Like if I'm filling up with gas and I go into the gas station to do something and I'm talking, people say, "Can I ask you a question, sir? How do you get your teeth so white?" I say, "Oh, I'm a dentist at Bayview Village. I love keeping white teeth. It makes you look youthful." That's my brand. How does a dentist have muscles? I said, well, it's muscle. If I don't want to be an old decrepit guy at 80, I work out 3 times a week. So that's a little mini branding in that one pointed conversation. But I think everywhere I go, I walk my talk. Like, you won't see me at a lobby bar in a hotel, with my 4th sangria, So, again, I can have a vodka. You can have a little bit of alcohol, even though there's nothing beneficial about alcohol. But I am who I am. I think, when I'm posting, I think the only one who's posted more than me is Kim Kardashian. She has 5,600 posts on Instagram.
I'm up there, man. I got to be
up
really?
there with you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm close.
5,400. And I really don't prepare too much. I get inspired. I'm sharing, or if I'm doing a talk at a conference, I'll tell my room host, just capture 60-second quips, 30-second little stories, and I'll repost them. If I'm moved with emotion by something, or if I had a couple of 90-year-old patients this week come in, and they were in walkers and very disheveled. But 90 in the dental office means you're doing pretty good. If you're 90.
I thought you said 19.
No, 90. No,
I was like, geez,
damn.
Yeah, no, 90. But I said, why do you have a walker? And they said, oh, it's never from disease. Most people with walkers and canes and wheelchairs, obviously there's accidents, there's veterans and stuff, but most people with those mobility aids, because they've lost muscle. So sarcopenia. And it reinforces to me, man, keep your muscle. Because if you don't lift weights, only 5% of people exercise and lift weights, what happens is you lose 20 pounds of muscle by the time you're 75. So you might say, oh, I weighed what I did in college, but you look like a little scarecrow. You got that scarecrow look. It's like Biden probably weighs the same what he did in college. But that 180 he's lost 20 pounds of muscle. So, and if you lift weights, you only lose 5 pounds. So you can be that great grandfather, a great grandfather. So that's how I keep motivated. Like I'll see a patient living it, and I don't judge them. It just reminds me I'm working out tonight. Or if a guy's trying to get his wallet out and he can't reach his wallet because he's so stiff, I'm going to yoga tonight. So
But
I find reasons to move. I find reasons to move.
I think that's critical. And even I take time out of my day, 3 days a week, to go and lift hard 3 days a week. Like that's what I do. And if I can keep it going. And by the way, Dr. Uche, you and I think are the same age. Gotta just keep that going, man. You can't stop. You can't give that up.
But also, you know what you do though? If you look good for your age, you can't talk to guys your age. If I talk to guys my age, they talk about the prostate and taxes. And I'm thinking, I'm talking to people 20 years younger because they're talking about the Blue Jays and they're talking about, where they're heading to vacation in Hawaii. So, and again, if I had 6 friends that were out of shape and I got drawn into the conversation, they'd make me feel guilty. Oh, Uche, it must be nice. Oh, you're a dentist. So I hang out with people that push me. I don't need to be the fittest guy there. I want to be hanging out with people my age. So I think they said anytime that you're really fit for your age, you need younger friends because you will start lowering your standard. Because most people don't exercise, most people don't eat fiber, most people don't do yoga, most people complain, and you get drawn to these negative conversations. So what I often do is keep quiet. If someone's complaining about their doctor or complaining about something, and if they ask my opinion, I'll share it. But I hang around with fit people. I sometimes have to plot and scheme, but I want to hang around with fit people because they think differently. They order different parts of the menu. Yeah. They're happier. They smile more. Their breath is fresher. Okay.
Teeth are whiter. Everything's better.
Teeth are whiter. Love that. Can I borrow some floss? So.
Power flosser. We always ask this question, and we really love to hear it. Like in your industry or anything out there, we always want to ask what treatment or thing someone could do that's absolute magic. Like what is something that just is fantastic that people need to know about that? Like this, you need to do this. What really delivers on that?
You mean as a dentist, or as a dentist or just?
I think it's your whole thing. Yeah. I think it can be fitness. It can be diet. It can be nutrition.
Okay. So non-negotiable. Let's do the fitness first. Strength training is super important. Only 5% of people lift weights, only 5% of the population. And that cane, walker, and wheelchair is devastating. And no one under 50 thinks they can have a wheelchair, walker, or cane. But you'd be surprised how many people actually fall, break a hip, and their mobility's changed forever. And, God bless the hearts if you're a veteran, if you have a disease, but most people with a walker, cane, and wheelchair are that way because they lost muscle. It's really hard to look sexy. Rod Stewart wouldn't look as sexy if he was on his walker. Trump, how would he be wheeling himself out to do a press conference? And it happens a lot with 80-year-olds. They've lost muscle. So I'd say strength training is non-negotiable. I've actually read that twice a week, you can maintain your muscle mass forever. Twice a week for 30 minutes each. That's all you need to do. Don't spend any more time. Good sleep is powerfully important. This is bright light for me now. So I'm like blasting my poor super chiasmatic nucleus right now. But my house is full of Himalayan salt lamps and red lights. It looks like the red light district in Amsterdam, without the hookers. But I have about 10 Himalayan salt lamps, and it reminds my caveman brain, because 2 hours after sundown, the only light we're supposed to have is the light of a fire. We can't change that. Any overhead light, this light is telling me it's noon, so it's disrupting my circadian rhythm. Not a bad time, maybe once or 2 weeks or whatever that is. But dim light at night is super important. Andrew Huberman says 12 seconds of bright light, someone taking off their makeup or looking at their light, right away you've lowered your melatonin and you've delayed its peak. What happens is you wake up tired instead of peaking your melatonin middle of the night. So I'm crazy with my dimly lit rooms. No overhead lights on at nighttime. If I'm driving when it's dark, I put on orange glasses. You're surprised how much you'll get to an area not hyped up and jacked up. In Vegas at night, orange glasses get popped on. $30 is incredible. So that's a whole other 2-hour program.
Yeah, it looks cool, man. I mean, you can't
look like Bono. That's incredible. So weight training, dim light at night, flossing. A lot of dentists in Europe don't push flossing. Actually, believe it or not, they're more into the water flossers and power flossers. String floss, you get it. Think of if you have a bunch of crud between your teeth. A string is not going to do too much except, and then hygienists say it disturbs it. But to get rid of it, a power flosser is the way to go. But I say every 3 months for hygiene. Like that extra $500 a year, you will keep white teeth. It'll make, Ben's doing this magical work with surgery. You got to have teeth that match the rest of the face. If you have short little flat teeth, no pointed eye teeth. Face looks great. What the heck's going on with the teeth kind of thing? And we forget that, and women, guys want to look attractive. You have white teeth that are straight. Women notice the smile first. I know Ben would say they notice the chin and not the skin first, but smile tells you you're approachable.
Well,
What's that?
I'll tell you, there's some people, they come and see me for their chin or jawline. I'm like, geez, oh, Pete, man, go get your teeth taken care of first. It looks horrible. So I think I agree with you.
And I call them the social six. Those top six, the social six. If you can see them and talk when you smile, youth, sexiness, charisma, that'd be a great 1-2 punch for you, Ben, in terms of, people ask me about lip plumping. They ask me about Botox. I've had some Botox here, and I'll share them, my doctor where I go to. And people think, Dr. Atu, you're a wealth of, I say, you know what? I'm looking at all of you. This is total patient health. So I'm giving them nutrition and guidance, not huge PowerPoint presentations, but hey, do some strength training. You had a hard time getting out of your chair. Have you tried any tooth whitening now costs $200? Professional tooth whitening. It used to cost $1,000 back in the 90s. So, but cleaning every 3 months, weight training, fiber, Dom, if I want to throw 30 grams of, there's so many things that are foundational.
You're kind of giving us a lot of work there,
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I got caught up on, I want to get him in one of our clinics. He should only be getting Botox in one of our clinics. I mean, because we're the best. But those were amazing. Let's take it quickly to the other side. What is...
Okay. All the supplements, like you can build a great physique and have tons of energy just by getting to bed on time, wearing a sleep mask to block out light, fiber, a couple of sessions of strength training. The minute you reduce your junk food, automatically your body's getting nutrition. So all those supplements, I think, what's his name? Brad Johnson on Netflix. He's like the guy who wants to live forever. But the Netflix show actually focused on his little bit of oddness. It wasn't really he eats 70 pounds of vegetables a month, and he spends $2 million a year. So that's not possible. It's not a doable thing. So I believe people throw a lot of money at supplements and quick fix. Foundations, where's that? You talk to Warren Buffett, buy Coke, he likes McDonald's, invest in what you know. I had a patient who is in the bridle path, in Toronto. It's like Rodeo Drive. Okay. 75-year-old guy investor. And I said, can you tell me about Bitcoin? He goes, Dr. Odiatu, I made millions for myself and my clients on iron ore. That's all I do. Iron ore. Didn't talk about, he goes, I don't know nothing about Bitcoin. So there's something about foundational principles in nutrition. So whole food. So that it's not that I don't like my supplements. I think people focus way too much on the supplements, and whole food is one. So that's the biggest one. And two, I've never heard anyone on New Year's Day say, this year I want to sleep more. And you sleep, you look sexy, you're toned, you're insulin sensitive, you don't have bags under your eyes, you heal better. It's like a nightly massage of your 60,000 miles of blood vessels. I've never heard anyone on January 1st say, to this year I'm going to sleep more. It's always going to stop smoking, I'm going to hug my spouse more, I'm going to exercise. No one mentions sleep, and it's such a cheap, easy hack. But there's no one outside the White House saying, we need more sleep masks. We need more sleep masks.
Too easy. Not enough money in that.
Yeah, and which is fine. I know there's a business model for everything, but there's foundational principles. Again, does the government want an alert, lean, lucid population? If we were all a six-pack, jacked, and lucid, we'd all ask better questions. So there's something. Watch us all get canceled after that. But if you watch 6 hours of television and you're dozed out on junk food and you're not sleeping, you will not ask any good questions. You are exhausted eating energy drinks. So, but there's something about, that inner circle, that top 5% that's working out, yoga, wearing a sleep mask, got the red light on at night, you got Himalayan salt lamps. You can build a great physique and a beautiful body that's functioning well and is affordable, which I think affordability makes it universally available. It's when you talk about NAD and plasma, Brad Mark Johnson talks about, he went down to Honduras to get plasma exchange. I'm like, who could afford that? But Ben, you look great. And how much plasma is yours? How much you've exchanged?
I take it from my 10-year-old son. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So foundational principles. Foundation is the key.
Yeah, there's no
Foundation.
shortcuts. Honestly, same as Brian Kuhn said, Dom. It's going to be a common theme, I think. There's really no shortcuts. And if it sounds too good to be true, very likely it
Probably
is.
too good to be true. Yeah. So that was appreciated. Dr. Uche, I want to thank you so much on behalf of me and Ben for being here. We learned a ton tonight. You also, you've made our lives hell because there's so many things that we have to go and sort out for ourselves. I'm going to go on Amazon right now and get myself a power flosser. But thank you so much for being here. Is this just, can you just tell the folks how they can find you? Like what's your handles? Can we just talk about,
Sure.
just shoot that out for us?
I'm probably most active on Instagram. So Fit Speakers, all one word. If you just look up Uche dentist, you'll find me. It's pretty hard. I'm probably the only bodybuilding Uche fitness dentist. If you go on Google and put Uche dentist fitness, you'll find me.
And that's
UCHE.
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 Yeah.
My website is druche.com. So it's druche.com. But Instagram is my sweet spot. Stories. I see Ben. I admire his ability to crank out the high energy posts. But Instagram is so easy for me. I'll post. I'll read an article. Get to me ideas, post it. So Instagram is the place where people can DM me quicker.
Love it.
I like it.
Thank you so much.
Uche. I like it.
We love it. Uche, we love it. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We'll see you out there.